This is my main deck. Prank Kids. 45 cards, 12 engine monsters, 3 engine spells that draw into a monster on activation, giving me 15 names, 15, the chance to see one of any 15 in a 45 card deck is like 85. With 40 it'd be 91 or 94. Pretty good. Oh, I guess I have 16 because I also have 1-for-1. 45 card deck, yes sir. Only because this deck thins deck very fast. Would you like to see what this deck does? Your turn 1 combo thins your deck so much that it doesn't matter. And the way that this deck works is you use Hypergeometric casual deck. No, you don't always play 40. Always playing 40 is like a fool's errand because there are some decks that can play more than 40. Like you play more than 40 so you can max out on going second and hand traps. Let me pull up a hyper. It always matters? No, it doesn't. I'm going to show you why. Hold on. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. So we're going to open a Hypergeometric calculator. We're going to show you some shit, right? Time for you to learn. Because people don't know how to learn. This is how I build decks. And this is how I think everyone should probably build decks, at least on paper, right? Number of population size. That is the number of cards in your deck, right? So if you're using a Hypergeometric calculator, you should put the entire full deck if you are doing test hands, theoretical test hands, right? Hear me out here. 45 cards. Number of successes in population. We have 3 of each kid. There's 4 kids. We have 3 of the field spell, and we have 1-1-for-1. Is 16 of. If we play terraforming like we're supposed to, that'd be 17 of. So we'll go with the optimal, which is 17. Sample size is 5. Number of successes in sample, we only need 1. One of any of those cards will force a full combo. 91%. Cumulative probability, 91%. 91. If we draw, it's 28% to draw exactly 1. It's an 8% chance to draw less than 1, and it's a 91% chance to draw more than 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Equal to or more than 1. The numbers you really need to look at are the exact, which is, oh, I want 1 kid and 4 hand traps. That's gonna happen 1 in every 4 games. I'm gonna get 1 kid and like 4 hand traps and fuck my opponent out of the game, right? Which feels good. You don't fuck them, you know what I'm saying? But the likelihood of drawing more than 1 kid, 1 or more, is 91% in a 45 card deck. If I were to change this number to 40, bro, you literally never fucking break. 95%. 95. And going down actually ruins our cumulative probability of drawing exactly 1, which is very strange. I don't understand why that happens, but you know, right? This is how I build decks, right? So I play a 44 card Trap Tricks deck, and there are 12 successes in the population, and I want to see exactly 1, and my size, my sample size is 5. How many successes I want is 1. Calculate. Wait, do I play 12? I think I played 12. Let's just calculate. Fuck it. Let's say that I play 12. It is an 81% chance to draw more than 1. Perfect. It is a 40% chance to draw exactly 1. Cool. You see how that works? That works? This is how I build Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Have fun losing 10% of your games before you even start playing? No, because if the rest of the cards I'm seeing in my deck are going second cards and hand traps, did you look at the rest of the deck? The engine is very slim. The rest of the deck is going second cards and hand traps. So no, I don't just lose the game. I Ash my opponent. I Max C my opponent. I DD Crow my opponent. I Solemn Judgment my opponent. I Forbidden Drop my opponent. I Raigeki my opponent. I Harpy's Feather Dust my opponent. I Cosmic Cyclone my opponent. I do things to my opponent that stop them from being able to play the game. So what happens is I'm sitting on, hopefully banking on drawing exactly 1 Prank Kid monster and a bunch of interruptions. If you draw 2, no problem. Less interruptions, you look at nothing. Understandable. But I'm just showing you how I build Yu-Gi-Oh decks. How I build all decks in all card games. 91% is literally in like the top 0.01% of consistency in decks. The only way I can make it better is by playing a little less out of engine cards, a little less going second cards, which makes it weaker going second, but extremely stronger going first, giving me an additional 4% to C1, which is good, right? Which is good. But as you play the game and as you play your deck, you realize, like, you know, those like 7% games, those 9% games, those are just gonna happen, and you're better off being more versatile in a best of one format than you are just saying, oh fuck it, I want to win the coin toss and go first every game. Because then at that point, you are only winning the games that you go first, and you are only likely to win the games you go first. You're only likely to win the games you go first, which means you're winning 50% of the time. If all logic dictates that a coin toss is a perfect 50-50 and you play 100 games and go first, 50 go second. And then there will still be games where you lose going first because your opponent drew the fucking tits, drew the yams, drew the absolute work, or even with a 94-95% chance, there's still the 5%. That means out of 100 of those games, there's 5 of those games you're gonna break. And then out of 50 of those games, you're gonna go first. So you're likely to break 2 of those games. See how that works? Use a hypergeometric calculator when you're making decks. If you're playing any card game, this is probably one of the best tools that you can get yourself into. StatTrek has a perfect one for like browsers. This is probably the perfect thing you can get yourself into if you're trying to build a deck and have it make cohesive sense, but also have it be consistent, right? There's even ways to look at a pot of desires off the top, right? Vanishing 10, drawing 2. There's even ways to look at a pot of, like, so say, let me show you another little example. So say I'm playing actually, let's stick with trap tricks. We're playing a 44 card deck with 12 successes in the population. Incorrect. We have already drawn our first 5 cards, so we go from 44 to 39. Correct? Am I bad at math here? Yes, we go to 39. We have 12 successes in the population. We have a sample size of 6 because we're using a pot of dichotomy, and in that 6, we need to see 1 trap tricks monster to start the game and win in full combo. That is how you would look at something like a pot of prosperity. Or if you want to look at something like a pot of desire, a pot of duality, you look at the top 3. You do sample size 3. In that top 3, what is the likelihood after I've thinned my deck, after I've drawn my first opening hand, and I drew no trap tricks monsters, or maybe you have 11 left in because you already drew 1, right? Maybe you needed 2. Maybe it's a 2-card combo. You need 1 other monster. You drew 1, you need the other one, sample size, you activate that pot of dichotomy, pot of prosperity, and it'll show you your likelihood. Your likelihood in the top 6 of a 39 card deck, and you need 11, you need 1 of 11 cards. 88% to see at least 1 of them. It is 33% to see exactly 1 of them. This is the power of using a hypergeometric calculator to figure out how your deck will function. You can just run test stands, and be like, yeah, I think this is consistent. Or you could look at the math and do that. I do a good mix of both. I like when I played the physical card games, I would do a lot of test stands and I would do the math on my test stands and see how it worked out for me, how my luck was. But I would also build the deck using a hypergeometric calculator so that I understand how it's supposed to function, like the worst games and the best games. A 90% chance to open a starter is amazing. An 88% chance to see a starter in the top 6 after you've already drawn 5 from the deck is amazing. That's really good. That's a really good possibility, honestly. And that's because I've had a Yu-Gi-Oh game where I didn't see a monster for 17 turns. It was 17. And I still, maybe I didn't see a monster till turn 50, but I still won the game. But there are going to be those 12% games, those 10% games, those 5% games. I'm just repeating myself. But I'm repeating myself because I want everyone to understand that even when you do the math, I blame it a lot. You've probably heard me on stream if you ever watched me play Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll be playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I'll be like, dude, I have a 91% chance to open a starter, 94% chance to open a starter, 88% chance to open a starter. What the fuck? Like, why didn't I open anything? This is so garbage. Draw the 6th card of my deck because my opponent went first. No starter. All right, I'm scooping. What the fuck is this math? I built my deck perfectly. Games are gonna happen. They happen to you. They're gonna happen to me. They're gonna happen to everyone. But it's about knowing that you built your deck right, and that sometimes you're gonna get into a situation where the game just says, "Fuck you." Like, it's gonna happen to all of them. It's fine. It's good to have the tool, have the knowledge, and to know that this is probably the best way to build your deck. Whether it's for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, Magic the Gathering Arena, Hearthstone, Legends of Runeterra, whatever it may be. Use stats. The math. This has been Beanie Thuggish, back with another YouTube video. I don't usually do talk segments for card games. It's not really a normal thing for me. I'll do deck profiles, I'll do gameplay. But tell me how you feel about seeing this tool, a hypergeometric calculator, hypergeometric distribution calculator. And if you think you're going to use it to help maybe make your deck building skills just a little bit better. Beanie Thuggish for the YouTube. Signing out. Peace.